lesson, we are going to create a login form using HTML and then CSS. So first, I'm going to create a new project folder. Let me call this project 5. Then you can open this in your VS Code. Alright, so once the folder is opened, you can now create your HTML and then your CSS file. So index.html and then your style.css file. So first, you can type HTML, then you choose 5 to generate HTML5 structure. Then next, you link your CSS file to the HTML. So style.css, that's the name of the CSS file we created. So I'll change the title to login form, or let me just leave it as login. Okay, so next in the body tag, I'll create a div with a class of container. So remember from our previous videos, we learned how to add class and then IDs to an HTML. So one good thing about our VS Code is that we have shortcut for writing the div with a class. Okay, so to create a div with a class, you can use a dot. So when you type a dot, you can check here from your Emmet abbreviation. It creates a div for you. So you can just type the name of the class. So let's say I want to create a div with a class of container. And just write dots and then container. So from here, you can see it has created a div with a class of container. So that's the default behavior. So say if you want to create a div with an ID of container, you write hashtag, and then from here you can see we have created a div with an ID of container. But if you want to create for any other element, let's say section, you have to write the name of the element followed by the class name you want to write. So you can use a dot. So from here you can see it is typing. So same for IDs, it will type it for you. But then the default one is a div. So I want to create a div with a class of container. Then within the div, I'm going to create a form. So anytime users are going to submit anything on your web page, you need to use a form to create that. So from our previous videos, we look at input in HTML and then the various types of the input we have. All right. So here I'm going to have H2. So let me say welcome back. So let me go live to check how it's displaying on the web page. Okay, so we have our title and then welcome back. Okay, so below here, let me have a p tag here saying login here. And then next, I'm going to create the input fields. So let me create a div with a class of input box. Okay. So here I'm going to have my input field. So this will be the username. So you can use a label. You can use a label and then you write the text here. Let's say username. Cancel. Username. Or you can also use the placeholder username. Anyone is fine. So here you can have the username text within the box. So you can use the label or the placeholder. Any of them you can use. So here I prefer using the label. Alright. So next I'll create another input box for the user to enter the password since it's a login page. So password. Then here we have input type as password. So I'll change this to password. So the way our browsers displays input type as password is different from how texts are being displayed. So you can tell the difference from them. So mostly on login pages too, you can have an option to reset your password in case you forget. So let me have a p tag here saying forgot your password. So this is a question, so let me use the question mark here. Then I'll use an anchor tag. So usually they provide a link for you to reset your password. So let me use the anchor tag and then say click here. So forgot your password, click here. So here if you have created a page for users to reset their password, when they click, it will just lead them to that page. So next I'll have a button to log in. So button, let me say login. Okay. So I'll give this button a class of btn. And then also below the button, you'll see another text. So in case you are new to the platform, you can don't have an account. Okay. So this is also a question. You can use the anchor tag, then your hashtag here. So you can tell the user, click here. So the moment you click here, it takes you to the sign up page. Alright, so here let me go back to the page. We have our input here looking nice. Alright, so next we'll just apply the CSS to it to make everything nice. So check the arrangement. We have container wrapping the whole items. Then within we have the form, the H2, the div for the username field, the div for the password field, p tag for password reset, and then a button to log the user in, and then a p tag for people who are new to your platform. So you have to make sure you have linked your CSS. So previously, you can hold your command or control key, you click on this. Once it opens the file, it means that it's linked properly. So here I'll remove the default paddings and margins added by the browser. Then I'll set the box sizing to border box. So here we don't have any spaces. Then next I'll select the container. So container, then I'll give it a max weight of 500 pixels, and then a margin of auto so that it moves to the center. But here I want to add some space at the top and then the bottom. So let me say 120 for top and bottom, and then 0 for the left and then the right. So next I want to add a box shadow to it so that you can differentiate between the login form and then the main page. So you have a nice border around it. So this color is too deep. So when you hover on the color, you can reduce the opacity. So you can just reduce the opacity here. I don't like using the RGB. I prefer the hex. So anytime you click on it here, it just updates. I prefer using the hex, but it doesn't really count. Then next, I'll add some border radius so that we have some curves at the edges of the shadow. So here we have some curves. Yeah, all right. So next, we can add paddings within the form. Okay, so we have some space within the container. So here they are all touching the edges of your border, or let me say the box shadow. So here let me say for the top and bottom, let's say 30 pixels, and left and right maybe 20. Let me see how it looks. Okay, not bad. So from here I'm going to select the H2 and then the p tag. So H2, let me select everything. So H2, the container, p tag. So they're selecting all the H2s and p tag we have in the HTML document. So it will just apply it to all the H2s. If you have multiple p tags, it's going to apply to them. So this, and then this. Okay. But I don't want it that way. So let me take this out. Alright, so rather let me just add a padding to this. Let's say padding 20 pixels for top and bottom, and 0 for left and right. So here 20 left and right. But let me make it, and 20 is too much. Okay. So next I'll select the container. Then I'll select the input box class we created. So input box. So within the input box, I'll select the label. I'll make the label a display of block. Okay. So I'll change the label to display block. Now I just want to add some margin top for each of the labels. So let me say 20 pixels. Okay. So you have margin top 20 pixels. But this is just pushing the box with the label. Okay. But it's better to rather give the margin top to the input box because that's wrapping the whole items. So next I'll select the container, input box, and then the input field. I'll give the input field a width of 100%. Okay, so that it stretches to the edges of the screen, or use 100% of the space available to it. So then I'll give it a height of 50 pixels. Okay, I think that's fine. Then I'll give it a margin of maybe 10 pixels. Let me give for the top and bottom, and then 0 for the left and right. Okay, so that we have a space between the label and then the input box. And then this is also too close to the edge, or let me say the border. So you can add padding left of, let's say, 10 pixels so that the user can have enough room when typing. Alright, so I think the label is also too close to the login form. So let me give a slight padding top to the label. Let me say 10 pixels. Okay, so I think this is cool. So I'll just add some nice style to the input box there. So first I'll remove the outline. So outline none. So outline is outside the border. So previously you could see some blue outline around it. The border is okay. So I'll just add some nice border radius of, let's say, 4 pixels so that we'll have a bit of curve. Okay. So the border, I'll make it 1 pixels. So solid so that we get a straight line, and then make it black. Alright, so we now have our nice border. So next, anytime users focus on the input field, so focus means that you have clicked on the input. So I'll copy this same thing and then paste below here. So anytime users focus on it, I want to add a nice box shadow. So 0 pixels, 0 pixels, and then 3 pixels. So let me choose red. No, red is too. Let me choose blue, somewhere blue. Okay. And then you can hover on this, reduce the opacity of the color a bit. Okay. Then I also want to change the border to blue. So border 1 pixels, solid blue. Okay. So here, anytime you just focus on the input field, it's going to change or apply this property to it. So here you can see it applies. But I want to add some nice transitions to it so that it fades in and then fades out. So you can add transition to this. So 0.3 seconds. I think that's cool. 0.3 seconds. So when you click, you have this nice animations. Okay. So lastly, I'll select the button and then apply the style to it. So inside container, we have a div with a class of btn. So it's always better to confirm the class name from here before you proceed. But if you have it off it, that's also fine. So this will have a width of, let me say, somewhere 130 pixels. I'll make the height same as the input. And then this will have a background of transparent, a color of blue, and then I'll give it a border of 1 pixels, solid blue. Sorry, color should be blue. So we have a blue color in the button. Okay. So next, I'll add some margins to the padding. So margin 20 pixels for top and bottom, and then 0 for the left and right. So next, anytime users hover on it, I want to change the cursor to a pointer. Okay. So you can add it here, or you can have add it to the hover anywhere. Okay. So it changes to a pointer. So same, I'm going to curve the edges of the button a bit by using the border radius of 4 pixels. So it looks like the input fields here. Okay. So now lastly, anytime users hover on the button, I want to add a nice background color to it. So let me add transition of 0.3 seconds. Okay. So same container and then the button. When users hover on the button, so hover means when you take your mouse pointer over the elements. Okay. So every time the user hovers on the button, I want to add the background color of blue instead of having the transparent effect. Okay, so now hover, you have a background of blue. So next we need to change the color of the text inside the button to white anytime users hover. Okay, so color to white so that it will be visible for the user to see. So you hover, you get your white color. Alright guys, so this will be all for the login form. If you have any questions, you can leave that in the comment section below. So see you in the next video.